Solstice. Merry Christmas. And thanks for braving the cold weather and coming out tonight. Tomorrow is the shortest day of the year. And the festivals at the time of the solstice and Christmas celebrate the birth of light. And so Jon is going to be talking on that theme tonight. Many of you know Jon Rasmussen. He's a shaman who has been trained in the tradition of Peru Indians of South America in the high Andes of Peru. Let's have Jon come out and lead us in a ritual. Please give him a warm hand. Hi. Thanks for coming tonight. So how many of you are familiar with shamanism or have experienced it before? A few of you have. I know many of you have been here a few times, quite a few times. Good. So I'll give you a little background. I was trained by many different shamans from different parts of the world, and studied a lot. My most recent connection has been to these Peru Indians in Peru, who live at 14,000 feet in the Andes. These 5 small villages called Keros, and they left 500 years ago at the end of the Inca Empire. Went up to that altitude in order to hold on to a lot of the shamanic techniques and worldviews that they knew we would need again someday, because they saw what the conquistadors were bringing around the world and that it wouldn't work very well for very long. And so they've come back recently out of isolation now, and they've been teaching and initiating shamans like myself and from all over the world, every culture, every part of the world, every tradition, to do this work, to use these shamanic techniques to work with individuals one-on-one, to do group ceremonies like this. And so anytime I'm somewhere, they're here. I'm just a small representative of this amazing lineage of these Peruvian natives. And of course, the beautiful thing is that all these traditions are very universal. There are a lot of the things that they practice and do in their weavings. You know, this is my mesa in their tradition. It's these cloths they weave that tells their story, because they don't have a written language. They don't write. It's all oral tradition and symbols and images and such. And so this is again very, very universal, a lot of these things. And so we're going to enjoy connecting tonight together in ceremony relative to this change of seasons. And there's many other people all over the world, I'm sure, tonight doing something very similar. And we're not going to have a fire here in the middle of the bookstore. We have a candle, which is good. That's part of the light. But I did bring a bundle of sticks, of little local cedar branches that we're going to use to load with our prayers or things we want to let go of and to lighten ourselves. And then I'll take this to a fire soon, and that'll be the way that gets released. It's one of the, again, the universal traditions to come to fire. It's probably one of the oldest. I think they say the first story ever told was told around the fire. How a tear of light from the sun fell to the earth and went deep into the earth, and now has come out in the form of gold and in the form of the volcanoes and such. So fire is a very powerful part of shamanism, the shamanic traditions. And it's a combustion process. And with combustion, we lighten. Not only does light get emitted that warms us and that gives us the ability to see, but there's fire within us and in all of our processes in our body, and there's the lightening of our load, if you will, the heaviness of our emotions get combusted as we process those within ourselves too. So this is I think when it comes to what it means to have this change of season now where the light is returning to the northern hemisphere, the longest night and the shortest day. Now the days will be lengthening and warmth will be returning and light will be returning, and this was always celebrated, and these seasons, these transitions were marked with ritual and ceremony, because that's the way that we can access the deepest part of our being. It's not enough just to talk about things, intellectualize them. When we go through movements and motions and journeys and drumming and rattling, we're connecting to an ancient, eternal part of ourselves. We know it as the soul in the West. It's the aura and chakras in Sanskrit. It's chi in China. It's anima in Italian. Everybody's got a name for it. But it's who we essentially are. It's the lightest part of ourselves. When the body dies and the soul leaves, there's people that have tried to measure the soul. It's just so subtle that it's impossible to measure. But it's who you really are. It's really your essential self. So the real opportunity we have at this time of the season to celebrate the change of the Earth's rotation, the tilt of the Earth, and the way that the sun is coming back to the northern hemisphere, is to do the same within ourselves. Perhaps for some of you it's been a heavy year, maybe there's been difficulties and struggles, certainly with the world at large. There's plenty that we could point to that's pretty heavy. And, the shaman's approach to praying, there's a good story of my teacher, Alberto Vialdo, who went into a jungle with a tribe. And it hadn't, or it wasn't, I can't remember if it was a jungle or mountains, but there hadn't been enough rain. There was a drought for some time. And the shaman he was sitting with said that tonight he was going to do a ceremony, and Alberto said, "Are you going to pray for rain?" And he said, "No, I'm going to pray rain." He said, "What do you mean by that?" And he's basically, what that means is that you've got to either become the rain or you feel it so completely that it's as if it's already happened, right? Powerful, powerful form of prayer. So I would hope tonight that when we do our ceremony, we will be able to pray light, that we will become light. That's the goal. If we can become light, then we bring light. We bring light to the world. So it starts right within our very, very, the center of our being, the center of our soul is a light in the center of the heart. It's the core of our luminous body that's like a sort of a toroid that comes through us and comes through that point. And if we can increase that light, if we could all become like that flame, that much lightness, then the power that sends out to the rest of the world is just enormous. Even just two of us together doing it would be extremely powerful. So this big of a movement would be very, very powerful to be able to achieve being light, praying light. So that's the goal. I think, and what I'm going to do to help us is that, we can talk about these things, but the whole thing that makes shamanism is that we engage with it, we do it, we don't just talk about it, we blow with our breath into a bundle of sticks. So pass this around and you'll take whatever's blocking the light within you, whatever feels heavy, whatever weighs you down, whatever's the opposite of light, and release it with your breath into this stick. And then that gets loaded with that, what the Karo call pucha, heavy energy. Same is light energy. It's like the flame. It's the lightness within us. Pucha is the heaviness within us. So we want to load these sticks with as much pucha as we possibly can. And then the fire will take it, the earth will take the ashes and mulch that and turn that pucha into new life, into the plants and everything that feeds us. And the flames and the smoke takes our prayers and our light into the spirit worlds. So, and any time we do this sort of work together, we always create a sacred space. We're going to open sacred space. So this is a way of lightening the atmosphere around us. You have your own body and your own luminous body, and together we form a kind of collective consciousness, but then we have the room and the city and everything around us, these different layers of influence on us. And so in this simple ritual of opening sacred space, we're clearing, we're sort of lightening the whole area around us to make it really possible for us to reach deep during the journey into these deeper parts of our being. So to do that, we're going to stand up and face each direction, and then the earth and the heavens, and I'll be calling on the traditional Karo archetypes and metaphor and real energies. And if you have your own, from whatever tradition you're from or whatever you're familiar with, in your own heart, in your own body, in your own feeling, also acknowledge them and thank them and ask them to hold this space for us. Because that's really what we're doing, is I'm calling on all the forces of nature, physical and non-physical. I'm calling on my team of guardians and spirit guides and all the ways you call them to come and hold us and help us do this tonight. Okay, does that sound good? Mm-hmm. All right. So south is that way. So let's start in the south and work our way around. To the winds of the south, Sachamama Hatunamaru, great serpent, mother of the waters, the rivers, the roads that bring us together, the galaxies, come hold us in this healing space. Wrap your coils of light around us. Help us to let go of the heavy energies, the old wounds and stories that weigh us down, that no longer serve us. The way you shed your skin, which is all at once, right here, right now, so that we can walk in beauty and lightness gently on ourselves, gently on the earth. Be with us, Mother. Oh, and to the west. To the winds of the west, Otorongo, great jaguar. Come protect this medicine space for us. Devour the heavy energies that no longer serve us. And help us to be free of fear and doubts and guilt and shame and other heavy emotions and ancestral influences that no longer serve us. Instead, help us to be warriors, but warriors who have no need to engage in battle, internally or externally. Instead, warriors who know our deepest desires, are willing and able to ask and receive those experiences for us and for the world, so that we can leap into who we are becoming. Peaceful, powerful, luminous beings. Be with us. Oh. The winds of the north, great healers, wisdom keepers, lineages of all, ancestors and guardians of these lands, hold us in the ancient wisdom, the wisdom to come. We honor you who come before us, and you who will come after us, our children's children. Help us take our seats with you we've never left. It's free, joyful, childlike co-creators. And hummingbirds, sea orchid, oh my God, help us to drink of the nectar of life, to receive unconditionally, to do that which seems impossible as you do, to stay light in the face of heavy contrast and difficulties. Be with us. Oh. To the winds of the east, into a great condor, evil. Come to us from the place of the rising sun. Help us to soar high. Help us to rise above, and be light, and see the broadest perspective and the clearest vision of our ideal destiny, to dream our world into being for ourselves and for all of humanity, all beings. Help us to listen to our bodies, use our feelings as guidance and discernment, as express ourselves fully, to honor the feminine once again in that way fully. Put our hearts above our heads and fly wing to wing with great spirit, with self-effort and grace. Be with us. Holy. Watch your mama. Beautiful mother. Thank you for holding us, for being a true mother. For being in our bodies, the air, the water, and all your children who come here. Whether you have the stone people, the plant people, the two-legged, the four-legged, the creepy crawlers, the fin, the fluid, and the winged ones. And our relations that help us to embody their characteristics and instincts and their medicine. Thank you, Mother, for taking those heavy energies that do not belong to us as you do our wastes and mulching them so we don't have to carry them around any longer. We can be free. Take life beyond where it's been before. Here on your belly, Mother. Here in our bodies. Holy. Taita, Father, Son, Mama Kia, Grandmother Moon, Neptune, Shasta, Star Brothers and Sisters. Thank you for rising every day, showering us with your energy, your light, your cycles that make life possible for us here, and doing this unconditionally, without judgment, teaching us to treat ourselves and each other this way. In great spirit, the teacher with a coach, welcome, God, creator of all that is, you who are known by 1,000 names, the innumerable one that dwells within us, and all around us in all forms. Thank you for bringing us together to sing this song of life one more day, to dance this dance of co-creation, to take it beyond where it's been before, new possibilities. And thank you for all those you brought to us to help us, to show us our potential. Okay, thank you. You know, I'd like to actually sort of open it up and see if there's any, you know, relative to what I just mentioned about the difference between, you know, what's light within you versus heavy or dark. I don't, you know, I sort of don't really make too much of a distinction between those two. But is there anything that's weighing you down that you want to share? Anything you want to express in this sacred space that the expressing of it might help to dissipate it? Or any questions, any concerns, anything's going on in the world that you wonder, maybe the Carol have an opinion about, or, you know, some of these beings or the shamans like myself, you know, is there anything you want to share? And then what we're going to do is we're going to pass the stick around, this bundle. Whatever you're thinking of, whether you share it or not, that's other than light, release it into here. Okay, does that sound good? Does anybody want to share? Anybody something that it's heavy? Yeah. You know, to shamans, the story is incidental. It's the core experience that we have of it, so we can avoid long stories. When we work with shamans, we can just sort of talk about what's the experience, what's the feeling, you know. I'll give you an example. You know, there's fire in Big Sur recently, right? I have a lot of friends there, do a lot of work down there. People have really lost everything, and I don't know if you've ever experienced that. I've experienced kind of that, and it's just they talk about heavy, right? That is heavy. And then you go, why? And how could, you know, this was just some campfire. I mean, really? You know, like, how could this be? And how is this happening? And, you know, what do we do? How do we move on? And that's kind of the thing, right? It's like those are the things that can really get us and hold us for a while. Because it's our mind that's really reeling with all of that. This is where we tend to do a lot of the processing, unfortunately, in our Western world. But it'd be better just to cry and scream and yell until you can't anymore, and it releases after your first chakra. But I'd really love it if you know, if you had something that you're concerned about, that we can all, in our journey collectively support each other, because that's another really important thing in the shamanic tradition. It's called Aini, reciprocity. Today for me, tomorrow for you. Today we build my house, tomorrow we build your house. It's not a, when you greet the Karo, they don't go, hey, how you doing? You know, in Quechua, they go, Ayami, which means, how is your village living within you? Because that's how you're doing. You know, if you can be having a great day, but if you're not in good relationship with your village, who cares? You know, that's not. And you, yeah.
I'd like to try to put some light on better healthcare for our village.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's a heavy subject, right? There's been a lot of debate and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Good, very good, yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if people found healthcare easily accessible, easy to obtain, easy to work with and function at a holistic level, or something like that, right? Like, always want to go to what is it? We want to pray healthcare, not pray for healthcare, right? So, what's the healthcare we want to be and experience? That's
enough of that other.
Yeah, enough of the contrast and what's wrong. We definitely want to get in the feeling place of what I want, you know, what I sort of simply just said. You might add to that, of course. Anybody else?
I don't know if it's an idea or a question, but, you know, perhaps it's been your experience in life that in order to heal a relationship, all you have to do is be loving and forgiving. And maybe you've found yourself in one that can't be healed by that. And you really do have to just, you know, let it go and go in peace. And
That's a great one. I mean, that's, you know, in the shamanic tradition, there's 4 levels that we can engage of our being. There's the psychological, which is the hard one. It's hard. How do you let go of it? You could be told all day long, don't worry about it. You're better than that. You'll meet somebody better. You know, doesn't always do it, right? You can, you know, try to do things physically, engage in the physical to try and improve and meet somebody new, this type of thing. That's also very, very hard, right? But the shamans like to engage on these other 2 levels, the mythic, which is the ritual and ceremony. And believe it or not, taking that relationship and blowing it into the stick and burning it helps tremendously, because it's a simpler thing to do, but when you work on this deeper level, it's got much more power to it than what you can do with the mind. So that's one way to do it. The other way, of course, is going directly to the level of the soul and clearing the pattern that caused that relationship to happen again for the 10th time in 3 lifetimes. You know, that's why it seems so much bigger than just this person. It's happened so many times typically, and it's why again, you know, unconsciously. You may not be aware of the previous lives. But, so that's what we do when we work. When I work one-on-one with somebody, for example, or in the journey in the ceremony we're doing tonight, there's an opportunity to make changes at that level, to really change that story, to be somebody wholly different, as if that didn't even happen. You remember it, but it doesn't hold that charge. So it's a great question. It's a very important thing to do on any subject, really, for any personal experience.
Clearing of the soul?
Yeah.
Do you do that with one of the rituals? Is it with the
Yes.
blowing in the sticks?
I work with my stones for that in particular, and the person will lay down, and the stone people here, these kuya that have gone through my training with me, it's just so primitive, right? These are primitive traditions. They go back tens of thousands of years. So instead of a Buddha statue or this and that, which was 6,000-7,000 years ago, this is what we had. This was the altar, was a few stones. So we still work with that, in addition to many of the newer traditions as well. That's how we engage. I've been trained, you know, part of the Caro's teachings and trainings is how to get to that level and actually. And I really shouldn't say like I do it, right? I don't take credit for this. I'm a mediator. I show up, I open space, and I have some ability to see what's happening and call upon the teams, but they're really doing that meat eating, catch what's called digesting or combusting those heavy energies. So they're artists, but we'll do some of that too.
So do you teach that? People who want to learn what to do?
I do teach occasionally on a informal level. There's a school that really does it well that I encourage people to go to and go through, because there's a lot of other people and it helps to work with other people. The closest that they teach it is Joshua Tree, which is east of Los Angeles, so not too far. 4 or 5 days each time.
Go to the Andes, right?
And we go to Peru and do, it's a part of that too. We go work with the Caro as part of that school takes people. And I do take people as well. Any other subjects or thoughts or questions?
I'd like to try and get rid of there's a huge, thick layer of fear around everything, all over the world, things I want to do, I'm like, you know, I don't think I can do that. But I think that if you get through that fear and acknowledge it, push it out of the way, and do it just at least on a personal basis, but people talk to us, watching the news, it's everywhere.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that at least lifted a little bit. I know it can't make it go away.
Courage is the deal. Yeah. Fear is there, right? Fear is a normal response to real danger. See dinosaur run. But the fear that you're talking about is the one where there's no dinosaur, but we're all sitting here shaking in our boots like something bad's going to happen, right? And this is the Caro. The reason the Caro left and went to that altitude to get away from all of the influences of the rest of the world was because it was a fear-driven story that was being spread. The one that had us kicked out of the garden, and it was woman's fault, and it's all things feminine are horrible and evil, and and these fearful men essentially who wrote that story. And then that got spread. Okay, and I was going to suggest that the whole reason I do this work, the whole reason the Caro come back from isolation and went in the first place, is to turn that story over again. It's called the Pachacuti in Quechua. Its world literally turned upside down when that happened. And when the harmony with the feminine, and the feminine being in charge, and the wild and tameable feminine, they call it the powerful feminine, was running the world. Because it is a feminine world. It is the feminine world. It's the mother that gives birth to everything. It's the earth that gives birth to everything, right? Which is honest, which has real fear. If a volcano is erupting, that's a little scary. She's creating new land, but if you're nearby, that could kill you. Jungles are scary. They can kill you. Jaguars can kill you. Women can kill you. So it's good to be afraid in a real way about that. Nothing wrong with that, but courage is what we're really asking for, which is standing at the foot of the volcano or the jungle or the woman with your knees shaking. You don't cut it down, cap it, suppress it, cage it in order to feel safe and comfortable. You stand there with your knees shaking and you say, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? And that's true with man or woman inside of us, our heart versus our head. This is the masculine, this is the feminine. This is going, oh, no, all sorts of bad things can happen. And this is going, yeah, but you gotta love. I mean, it's all that's what we're here for. But no, that hurts. And it's like, yeah, it could hurt, but be courageous. Do it anyway. That's what you're here for, So that whole story of the return, the turning right side up of the world, of the feminine returning, and the masculine being courageous enough to be okay with that is the deal. So that's, I believe, what you're speaking about. That's the core of what you're speaking about. Because that fear has been spread and taught in our myths and in our literal teachings and our philosophy,
And it seems sometimes people don't even know they're afraid of something that's
That's
hanging
right.
over them. Be afraid, be
Yes.
afraid.
Yes. These levels, the mythic and the energetic, they're unconscious. We don't really know that that's happening to us. typically. We know about somewhat of our beliefs and what we've been taught, what we think we believe, but you're right. These layers are the ones that are really the big influence, and they tend to be completely unconscious. In fact, you could do years of work, I call it swimming upstream, psychologically and physically to try and overcome these things, and still not get to the real deeper wounding and such. That's what I was referring to lifetimes ago.
Right.
This isn't the first time you've experienced this type of generations of the same story and the same wounds, right? So we got a lot of influences on us in that regard. That's heavy. That's stuff that can be removed and released into the fire, and then we go away a little more of our own, being our own true light being ourselves. That's afraid but courageous enough not to act on it. So that's a big one. That's a source of a lot of issues. If you want to stop poverty, or you want to stop war, or you want to stop, environmental disasters, or the way women are treated around the world, that's the core of all of that. That's what causes all of those problems. Get the feminine back, all those get solved. In my opinion.
Self-care and ritual, ritual in a good way of self-care and honoring the physical that we're in.
Great. That's the feminine, the physical. So it's the same kind of thing, and it is valuing that and honoring that. A lot of our traditions, it separates spirit and matter, makes spirit an amazing, wonderful thing, typically our Father, who are somewhere else, and matter, mater, mother, it's just a table. Inanimate, right? Same thing. Our body, this isn't the thing. This is just same problem, right? It's like we need to value this just as much as we value our spirit. There is no separation of spirit and matter to shamans. Never has been. There's no place God is not. There's no place devoid. There's nothing more spiritual than this table, this body, the car. So yes, letting go of this idea that the material is base and worthless and needs, that can go. We can be then light in our physical, we can be light in our bodies, and our bodies, and bring light to our bodies and ourselves and our organs, and healing follows. So thank you. Good? Should we pass this around? I'll start here, and you can just pass it around and go ahead and take time to go into that. And while you're doing that, I think it would be good for each of you to, let's close our eyes for a moment. Let's go looking for the heavy and the dark a little bit, so that we can go into this stuff. We don't want to transcend yet. We don't want to disappear from ourselves, even though that's a wonderful place to go. Typically, I want you to start from your toes. Close your eyes and start in your toes and kind of work your way through your physical body and through your luminous body, and really feel things that you have maybe been avoiding feeling because it was too much to deal with, too hard to talk about. And feel that, recognize it, and then when the stick comes, blow it all with your breath into that stick. And then we'll do a little journey to go for the light. Let's take a moment. Around a little bit just to help you. check for any heaviness having to do with guilt or self-judgment, self-worth. Typically heaviness in that. Do you have to be heavy to be an adult? Do you have to be serious? So responsible, perfect. Can you be light like a child and still be an adult? You have to feel the heaviness of the world and what other people are going through in order to help them. I don't think so. Even if you don't know how something's going to work out, how you're going to get what you're asking for, does that have to be heavy? No. I'll blow in all the things you'll think of tonight and next week that you wish you had done. It's one of our tricks. It works, It's retroactive. It really is. The Carol do this in their prayer book. They always put one last piece that says, these are the things that you'll think of next week. It's done. It's done. They'll be there. All right. Now, how about we be the light? How about we take a little journey? I'll guide you and I'll use the drum and we'll find that light in the center of our hearts and we'll, I don't know, we'll see if we'll expand it or do something, but we'll see. So go ahead and close your eyes. And take a few deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. It's like a bellows stoking a fire.